Thank you so much. Actually, my complete title, it's a little longer, is Changing to the Joy of Wisdom. And I was thinking about that as we've gone through lots of different events in the last several months, that it's important to use wisdom, to use divine wisdom in our lives if we indeed want to create joy. So one of the things, when you think about it, suffering occurs when people ignore nature's laws and spiritual law. However, it doesn't have to happen, because the divine wisdom is revealed as joy when people follow spiritual law and act in harmony with divine law. So as people act wisely, change occurs in harmony with both natural and spiritual law. And it can happen for each person. It can happen for everyone across the planet. Ernest Holmes had a very wise statement. He said, "Man is made up of the sum total of his conscious and subconscious thoughts, plus what he inherits from his ancestors and race thought, plus," and this is important, "a spiritual inwardness." And he says that our trouble is not derived from life itself, but from the use we've made of it. That life exists in its fullness at the center of our being. And if it were never blocked, it would always flow through us as life, love, harmony, happiness, and success. So when you think about it, let's think about natural laws. We see what occurs when people forget to live in harmony with natural laws. Maybe they forget it because they're focusing on expanding their good, or they're just not even paying attention. We all do that sometimes. So take an earthquake. We know that the earth shakes periodically in some parts of the world. And so knowing this, to act in alignment with natural laws, we either don't build on an earthquake fault, or we build buildings that can manage to stay and still stand during the earthquake. But, if you think about it, there's lots of different kinds of natural events that happen all over the planet. And so even though we can be wise in our choice of where we live and what we do, still it's important to stay prayed up, to stay attuned and at one with the one. So even though we're always at one with the one, because we live and move and have our being in the one, when we're not consciously focusing on this, then sometimes our wisdom isn't revealed. Because that staying prayed up is a way to truly stay tuned in to that divine wisdom. I've told the story before of Dr. Jack Holland when this was years ago, he was driving in rush hour traffic in LA. And so, it's bumper to bumper, but they're going at least 65 miles an hour. And he was driving behind a truck that had a desk in it. And he's driving along, and he stays prayed up. He prays periodically throughout the day. And this kind of thought or voice said to him, change lanes. And he's thinking, no way can you change lanes. Everybody's, this far apart, all the cars are all going really fast. So he didn't change lanes. And so this thought or this voice said the same thing. Again, he didn't move. And it kept coming into his consciousness. And so finally, he managed to change lanes. And a few seconds after he did, the desk fell off the truck. And there was a huge accident. And he would have been in that accident. So, yes, events happen. But when we stay prayed up, then we're staying in alignment with the harmony and divine order. So we need to stay prayed up. We also need to respect nature. I mean, the things are obvious, like the natural laws that sometimes we forget about. Like if we pollute the water, it's not going to be safe to drink. And the fish that swim in it aren't going to be safe to eat. Just things like if we build energy plants without thinking of the consequences if they get out of control, we're forgetting natural law. So it's like we've talked about electricity before. Electricity is a wonderful thing, and when we use it right, it serves us, and when we don't, it hurts us. So being in alignment with natural law, and part of that also is being in alignment with knowing the truth, because there's a lot of ideas, like in the race consciousness, a lot of belief that, illness might just come and zap you any minute, and if you do believe that, your consciousness is open to it. Or that really there isn't an abundant universe, that there's a limited amount of money and goods, and that you have to make sure you're going to get yours, where what that actually does is tell God law, I believe in limitation. And when enough people believe in that, then we have the financial crises that we've been going through. Well, the cause that nature or people have put into action in these situations can have results that we don't want to experience. And of course, the effects can be mitigated by wise decisions, wise preparation, and intelligent response to what is good. But what is even better is invoking spiritual law and divine right action to be revealed in all situations every day, as well as in response to when events occur. In a book called In Freedom from Stress by Ernest Holmes, he says, we do not control the thought of our race, but we can at least try to control our thought. And to the degree that we can, we exert some control over our environment. There is no doubt but that we can fully control, but do we? Who has yet seen anyone who did it perfectly? However, in such degree as we can shift the basis of our imagery, our belief, our emotional and mental reactions to life, we can come to a place individually of peace and security and happiness. And then gradually these changes take place, and there will be a corresponding change in our environment. So this is really empowering, because it does seem sometimes we feel like we're victims, we feel like we don't have control. He's reminding us we have the attributes of spirit. We can change our thinking and our beliefs and dramatically change our lives and our circumstances. He goes on to say, if God created you after his own nature, and there is nothing else he could have made you out of, then the thing you are after is already here within you. The only things that stand between you and it are the accumulated thoughts, beliefs, and emotions of the ages. But there is nothing there that has not been put there by either yourself or the race. And what has been put there can be removed. I love that. What has been put there can be removed. Cancer can be removed. Poverty can be removed. They don't have power in themselves, although they look like they do. They're results. Cause is in mind. So when things seem overwhelming, then it's time, more than ever, to do scientific prayer treatment, to read or listen to spiritually uplifting messages, and to call a practitioner if you're having trouble knowing a higher truth. When all the events were happening in Japan, like everyone else, I felt a reaction, and so I wrote a treatment for myself, and I want to share it with you. I rise above circumstance. In this moment, in every moment, I know the truth that God is everywhere present.